Hello and welcome to another heart-opening episode of Future Jobs, where we explore the unexpected careers and powerful passions shaping tomorrow's world. I'm your host Fahad Jobswala, and today we are diving into a topic that touches millions of hearts every single day: the deep, often unspoken bond between humans and their pets. Have you ever wondered that your dog is trying to tell you with those eyes, and why your cat acts differently when you are sad? Today's guest doesn't just wonder, she listens. I'm honored to be joined by Liz Murdoch, internationally recognized animal communicator, pet care expert, and intuitive guide who has helped countless people better understand, care for, and emotionally connect with their pets. From decoding doggy behavior to communicating with animals nearing the end of life, Liz's work is changing the way we care for our furry companions and how we listen. So, whether you're a lifelong pet lover or someone curious about the intelligence and emotional lives of animals, this conversation will surprise, inspire, and deeply move you. Let's dive into their world and hear what the animals have been trying to say all along. So, Liz, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's an honor to record this podcast with you, Liz, because at least always had this wish that may I could speak with the animals I see around me, around myself, around my environment. So today is gonna happen. So could you tell us about your story, Liz?
So I first understood a dog in kindergarten. A classmate brought a dog to show and tell, and I knew that I heard it say, I can do more than this, and I was intrigued. So that started me off wanting a dog, which I got, and I had a very intuitive relationship with that dog, and we won the blue ribbon in dog training. I was a child with all adults. So it was obvious to my family, my parents, that I had a gift with dogs and I had an understanding. And it was stepping stones through the rest of my life, working with animals in different ways, education, that I finally realized that I could meet a dog. I did it originally after my own dogs with animal rescue, evaluating dogs for placement in homes. And as I practiced, which is important for anyone to get really good at it, I practiced for many years with the rescue dogs, and that just set me on my path.
It's the journey started since you were a kindergarten student, right?
Yes.
It's just fantastic, Liz. The first time you recognized the dog's communication, it was when you were in the kindergarten. So, Liz, how did that uh, interest, how did that passion turn into a profession? How did you ended up by taking this as a passion or as a profession?
So I started it. I took a class to understand, just to try it and see what it was like, understand what is animal communication and talking with dogs. Because I was like, I can do that. It's just like someone who likes to cook and wants to take a cooking class. So I took a class and it was clear it just unleashed something in me. Like, oh my gosh, I could do it. I know more. People would share what they got. And I was like, oh yeah, and this, I know. So as I practiced with more people, it was obvious that I had a large following that wanted sessions. And so it was like I could do this as a business. And like anyone starting a business, it's like, well, I'll start small and I'll see how it goes. And when I would have like, oh my gosh, I have to keep track of things. I have to follow up with clients. I need to do the business things that we all do in business. I would have moments of like, gosh, am I really talking to dogs? I knew I was, but as a business, and so I would always think, okay, if I'm not supposed to do this, then it'll be clear. But if I'm supposed to do it, I want to know for sure. I want to sign, and I would get a booking right away, or I'd get an invitation, and the doors kept opening, leading me to do more work with the animals as a dog talker, pet talker. And so I think that's really good for anybody, is just following the stepping stones, I call them, of where it's leading. And for me, it kept leading me to invitations to speak, invitations to do an event, um, more clients, people who want to study with me. And so over the years, I just got good at figuring out, how do I want to balance the private sessions with group events and with teaching people individually who for coaching. And it just created a business. It was clear. And then I learned how to create it as a business so I could function and not be overwhelmed.
That is really wonderful, Liz, and that completely, in a way that it changed your life. As you mentioned, now people invites you in their events where you,
Mm-hmm.
have to perform all those things. Talk to the pets and all that. So, um, what is the most memorable experience you've ever had with the pet? With talking to a pet, and that, like, could be a very shocking moment for you too.
Well, I've had a bunch of those. I am always amazed how animals can say things that there's no way I would know. And I'll tell the people, oh, your dog wants this little round red thing. This happened yesterday. And the woman knew it was a meatball. And it was interesting because they had come to me because the dog was not eating. And so when I said, well, the dog wants this little round thing, it's like a ball, or it's a treat, but it's sort of sweet, but it might smell, and I didn't know what it was, but she knew what it was. So that amazed me because it's so specific and I'm just describing what I'm seeing. But I also yesterday, so I have a fish. It waved me down, and I didn't mean to get a fish, but I walked by it at Petco, the pet store, and it I felt like it wanted me to take it home. So I took it home. I got an aquarium, the whole thing. Well, yesterday the fish was looking at me funny, and I don't know how a fish looks at a person funny, but I was like, wait a minute, what is it? What do you want? What's going on? I'd already fed him. So I looked at him and he just looked urgent. And I had this knowing, well, what is it? Let me check the filter. So I went to the filter and it wasn't working. And I said, oh, is it that something's wrong with the filter? So I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. I'm talking to this little fish that cost me $1. And I'm like, okay. So I turn around and it was unplugged. The filter plug had come out of the socket. So I plugged it in. I go back to the aquarium. It's bubbling, and I look at the fish, and his face is different. I just knew that that's what he wanted, and he went off swimming. So it happens like that, where I look at an animal and I'm like, what? And that was the first time that a fish had like come up to me, and I knew that it wanted me to take care of something, and I did it, and the fish was right. So it's things like that.
It's really wonderful. The first experience with a fish. So, many people love animals, but few can communicate with them the way you do. So, when
Yeah.
did you realize you had a unique ability to understand animals on a deeper level?
So I was working with my dog Sam. We were a therapy team that we were certified to go into hospitals, and we worked with doctors, and we were working with a patient who had had a stroke. And I was work with a team of doctors and nurses and physical therapists. And so Sam and I were taking a break while they were evaluating what the plan was to help this particular patient. And I looked at Sam and I was like, wait, I know what he's thinking. And I looked around because I knew he needed to go outside to go to the bathroom. He wanted to go outside, but he was just sitting there looking at me. But I knew. And I looked around to the others because I'm like, nobody seems to know that he is asking to go outside. So that was the first time that I noticed I was different than other people in understanding animals. And so I took him out. He went right away. We went back in. Then, when I've studied with other people and how they do it, and I would get such level of detail, and given it was just the group people I've been with, but I noticed that it comes so fast. And I could see it, and I could see that the clients, like, I don't advertise my work, but I keep getting bookings and referrals. So I know that it's helping people. And that's what I want to use it as a way to help really the animals most of all, but the people who are caring for them.
Okay, that is a good one too. So Liz, most of the people believe, and most of the people don't, that pet animals, especially, um, gets sad or gets happy, like they have an emotions, in themselves. So,
Yes.
what is your experience with them when it comes to an emotional uh, interface?
So I do find in my experience that animals have emotions for sure. What's interesting is that their feelings and emotions are often different what people think they are. We project like, oh, that dog's so sad that its person died. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. They miss something, the schedule that the person fed them. They miss something different. Or sometimes they are sad because they miss the snuggling. It depends on the dog, just like people have different feelings about favorite food, right? You can have a favorite food and it's like, oh, this is my favorite food. And somebody else is like, ooh, I don't like that. So they might be sad if I said, this is your treat, your birthday dinner, and it's not what they like. They'd be sad that you don't care about me or whatever feeling they think about. But animals are the same way. We think that they're sad that they have cancer, but sometimes it's like, well, my stomach, I've had dogs come and they say, well, it's not the cancer, it's that there's something pushing uh, on this side of their body, and they say, oh, that's the tumor, it's different. I'm like, well, he says he's uncomfortable because he can't eat. Like, yeah, yeah, when we prop him up, then we do that. And the animal's emotion was more about being physically discomfort because he can't eat, rather than I'm sad because I'm very sick. It's we project what we think they're feeling, where their reasons are often different. Their feelings are different. And that's why I don't want people telling me what they think right away, because let's have the animal's perspective. So they have them, but they're often different.
Wonderful. And another thing that I see is they're showing their emotions. The way they shows their emotions is a bit different.
Hmm.
Like if we're seeing a dog, and we are believing that that dog is sad, but maybe he is not. Maybe we are considering that the dog is sad. So is that a difference between how they shows their emotions?
Yes, yes. And it's how we read, like the fish, their eyes communicate a lot. And also, though, we can feel it and to interpret. So for instance, if I put my hands over me like this, people might think, oh, she doesn't want to talk to anyone, she's protecting herself, right? I'm like this. Or it could mean I'm cold, but it can also mean I have a piece of candy in my hand that I don't want to share, and I want to eat it without you knowing. And those are things that are all real life scenarios that, when we don't assume, then we get to what's really going on, both with people and pets. I find it easier with animals to look and like, oh, he's not sad, he just has to go to the bathroom, he wants to go outside, oh, we forgot to let him outside, those kinds of things.
Wonderful. And We often hear the sound when it is the midnight. The sound like a wolf. The wolf
Hmm.
is howling or something like that. The dog makes that sound. So, what is the reason behind why the dog makes the sounds like that, and especially in midnight?
So it can, again, in my work, I keep going back to it depends on why an animal does something. Sometimes they're communicating that they want a person or another animal to come alert them to something they need help. They are identifying how that they're hurting, uh, which is different than I need help getting out of a situation, it might be, or I'm hurting and I'm identifying where I'm located, or I'm letting somebody know where I am because I want you to come see what's happening. So there are people who work with animals who are like this, the animals that are scent workers and sniff out bombs and things. Those handlers, their partner, they can tell the difference really well of a dog's expression, even how it's holding its head and nose. They can tell the difference, the barks, you know. So it's the same thing with a dog barking at midnight. There can still be different reasons. And it's when you're in relationship and open to that dog's reasoning at that time, then we get to the point of really communicating.
So it depends whether they are communicating, whether they are alerting the other animals to
Yes.
come to their side, or so it depends on the animal's situations or what they are feeling.
Yes. And sometimes, like if they're hunting and one animal is like, that's mine, I want that, and they're alerting, stay away, so there's different reasons even within, "Arf, arf, 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 arf," that could be, that's mine, stay away, I don't want you here, or hurry up and help, this is happening, or they're excited. There's just a lot, just like with people.
Exactly. So, which animal is the most emotionally attached animal with the humans? Dog or a cat?
That depends on the animal and the person. So, you can have a dog that's very bonded, and then I've worked with dogs who are not attached at all. If they're I worked with some dogs that were born, some feral dogs, and they were puppies, and they had no attachment to people, and it was really interesting. I'm like, "Oh, they don't know that people can communicate with them. They had no bonding with people. That was foreign to them. But then there are others that are emotional or medical alert dogs that know people so well and know, like, ooh, you're going to have a heart problem. I can feel it coming, and they alert and they know what to do because they're trained and they know people are responsive. But cats can be the same way. My fish that told me basically to check the water filter, that fish gets so excited and will follow me around the room in the aquarium, but not other people. Because we've done it with other people, come and they stand, the fish doesn't do anything, but with me he gets all excited. So it depends on the animal and the relationship it has with a certain person, because they can be bonded with one person but not another.
Okay, wonderful. So, how can patting the animals, cats and dogs, can be beneficial for you, except gets entertained through them?
So when we bond with an animal and pay attention to them, not only does it improve our relationship with that animal, and so when the stakes are higher, like they need help, starting with, like, are they happy with their food? When we pay attention to their preferences, then when something is a bigger issue, like do they need to go to the vet? Do Should I do the surgery for the dog or not? Does it want the surgery? Is it going to be helpful? We're more in tune with what the animal would want because we've cultivated this connection of knowing and understanding, along the way. And it actually transfers to our abilities to connect with people too when we can practice similar kinds of communication ways.
Wonderful. So, Liz, this is the season of the cows and the goats. If you're familiar with, this is the Muslim season of fatting all these animals, and then we eventually sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
those. So, if someone has a cow, which is not feeling comfortable with eating, or which have some kind of problems, because it occurs and it
Right.
happens. So if someone would show you visually, you know so would you be able to recognize that what are the problems that animal is facing?
Some of the problems, yes. So I can't diagnose because I'm not trained to do that. But what I can do is describe. For instance, if I saw a cow and I was like, oh, um, he's having trouble processing, he's got too much of a certain kind of food that's collecting in his stomach, and he says he wants to move more, he's not moving enough. And I will describe what it feels like, so that, say it's your cow, so that I'm saying this is what I'm getting from the cow and I describe it in detail. Then you can go to somebody who works with cows to help treat them and say, oh, well, this is what it's probably X. They do the diagnosing and then they figure out what to treat it. Maybe it needs to walk more, it needs more exercise to move it along the system. Maybe it needs more water. Maybe it needs to rest. Maybe it needs some kind of supplement or medicine. Somebody else does that diagnosis, but they use the information that I can describe, and that's how they can get to figure out how to treat what's going on.
Wonderful. I see many people, taking the cows for long run, and they are making them to run and all that walk. I would say, according to what I think, that uh, taking them for a walk is a good thing. It can help them to digest the food they've
Yep.
ate. But taking them for a long run, and making them to run, and it can cause accidents as well. So could you tell us what could be dangers for, especially for cows and
Yes. Well,
goats?
sometimes they,
What we have to avoid?
because yes, running too much for any animal can be a problem, especially when you look at the food, like what time did they eat. Then to go for a long run can be a problem. But there might be one cow that does fine just because that's that cow's body. Sometimes an animal needs rest because they've been doing a lot in the last couple of days. They didn't sleep well for some reason. There was noise. So it's finding that balance of the running, the walking, the rest, how much food at a time. Maybe it's eating too much, so we need to spread it out. Are they getting enough water? Are they too hot? All of the variables come into play.
Got it. So, in your experience, what are some common things pet try to tell their human noticed?
So often pets want to talk about their food because it affects their whole system and how their body works. Again, just like people. So, too much food, the wrong food, food allergies, not, they want more of a mixture of food, but food that's good for them. In the States, people like to buy a lot of dog treats for their dogs. Oh, this is a cute package. Oh, I like this. Oh, it's a heart shaped. Oh, it's bananas. That's not necessarily good. What's important is, for the dogs, want people to know, is that they want food that is a good match for their bodies. And people often know, oh yeah, I notice he doesn't eat those as much. He always wants these treats. It's like, then just give him those treats because they agree with his body better. So as long as they feel the nutrients, animals want to talk about making sure they're getting the right food that they need, not what's fun for the people to say, oh, here, you can have half my pizza. Some dogs are okay with a little bit of pizza, others are not. So food is a big item.
Amazing. Liz, how long it has been since you are working with pets and animals?
Oh my gosh, it's been at least 30 years, a long time.
Wonderful, Liz. It's a big number, and I would say it is a good deed. Seeing that non-businessly or non-profitably, now you're taking this as a profession too. But you know, it's way more good for our good deeds as well. And that's what our God, wants us from us. That we have to take care of animals too because they can't speak, or we can't recognize what they're you know trying to say, but you are working for them and you are working to understand what they are saying. That really deserves a lot of appreciation.
Oh, thank you.
If every pet parent in the world could understand just one message from their animal, what do you think that message would be?
The one message that the animals really want people to know is to slow down and pay attention because I am trying to tell you something. I am trying to communicate with you.
Okay, exactly, because uh, many people believe they're just wanting some food, and whenever they gets speaks meow meow, we just serve them food. We don't
Right,
even notice what maybe there's something else they're trying to say.
right.
So thank you so much, Liz Murdoch, for giving me your precious and valuable time for the amazing conversation all the way from US. And it was really a nice conversation. I still have a lot of questions because the person who is just sitting next to me, has something which is very common in the world, all around the world, and it is something which most of the people who have pets they want to talk on. So thank you so much for
Hmm.
turning on, Liz, and for giving me your valuable time for this amazing podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and listening to this podcast. I hope you like it. Inshallah, meet you soon with an amazing podcast with an amazing guest. Till then, stay peace and take care of yourself.